My boyfriend kept smiling at me while he was sleeping. At first, I thought Drew was having a weird dream. You know, those type of dreams where you're eating in a 5-star restaurant before meeting up with your celebrity crush and then flying on a cruise in the sky. Yeah, those type of dreams. His smile was unnerving though. A crooked smile. With his lips shaping like that scary Momo meme that trended years ago. It was terrifying, especially at night. The first day that happened, I was scrolling through my phone on Instagram before heading off to sleep. But, just before I turned off my phone, I heard him stirring in his sleep. I slowly turned my phone to face him, and just in time to see him turning over to my side. His eyes still closed while he slept easily. Nothing wrong with his face, just peaceful as ever. I couldn't help but smile softly at his soft features. He'd usually make goofy faces whenever I said something wrong or when I complimented him. So, looking at how soft his features are when he was asleep was kind of refreshing. It wasn't until I turned my phone away. That's when I heard him giggled. He wasn't a sleep talker, or laughter, I should say. I turned my phone back to him and noticed how he slowly started smiling. Must be a good dream, huh? Then, his smile stopped being soft. It turned weird. I was creeped out, but nonetheless, shrugged it off and immediately went back to sleep. The next day, he woke up like nothing happened, kissing my cheek and telling me good morning. I could smell the eggs and toast from downstairs. I got curious and asked why he was still home.
Oh, morning, babe. I mean, it's only 9.
He explained.
Oh yeah, I made breakfast. Come eat with me.
Then, he left immediately after. I reluctantly followed him out of the room and headed into the bathroom to brush my teeth. But, as I stared into the mirror, all I could see was his smile staring back at me. Except, what I envisioned wasn't him. It was a man with long hair, no eyebrows, and deep sunken black eyes. His yellow teeth could see right through my fear. I immediately spit out the toothpaste and blinked. The man was gone. Drew? I shouted, running down the stairs. I didn't even clean my toothbrush. But, to the heck with that crap.
Yeah?
As I ran into the kitchen, I could hear plates clattering against the table. Drew, I need to ask you something. I asked, swinging into the kitchen while grabbing onto the doorframe. He looked up after setting down our plates, with a confused look on his face. No, it's nothing, but what were you dreaming about last night? He chuckled awkwardly.
Oh, okay. What?
He asked, tilting his head.
Lily? I don't understand what you're trying to say. What?
He asked again, oblivious to my question. But honestly speaking, this type of reaction isn't out of the ordinary. I mean, I would be too if he ran into the kitchen and asked me some weird things like that. I'd be weirded out too. I explained to him about the situation, but he only told me that he dreamt about him running away from a foot and then slowly punching the crap out of it. After that, I told myself to shrug off the feeling and proceed with my day. I had to convince myself that it was nothing serious. For the next few nights, I would see him smiling in his sleep. And each time, his smile would be wider. And each time, I would become more freaked out. I didn't even want to sleep after that. I almost stayed up the entire night on my phone because of his creepy smile. On the 10th night, though, I couldn't hold it in anymore. His smile was so hard to describe. His cheekbones balled up into a large circle, as his chapped lips smiled so hard that it started to crack. His eyes still closed, and his eyebrows still in the same position. It looked like the only thing that moved was his lips.
Oh, Christ. Drew, wake up.
I shouted, turning on the lamp on my nightstand and shook him. Drew was a light sleeper. Anything could wake him up. I could recall the first day I moved in with him. I couldn't get used to it yet, so I twitched in my sleep. It woke him up. Heck, he twitched and woke himself up. But this time, though, he didn't wake up.
Drew?
I stared at him.
Drew?
I said sternly and shook him. If you thought his smile was scary, I'm sorry to let you know. But it gets even creepier. His eyes shot open and stared straight at me, still giving me that smile that unnerved the crap out of me. He didn't say anything though, just stared at me with that scary smile I had been seeing for the past few days.
Drew, what the?
I scooted further from him.
Drew, you're scaring me.
I mustered out a whisper. I love this man so much that I was willing to stay in the same bed with him for at least another minute. But immediately after that, I noped out. Standing up after that, his eyes moved with every single movement I made.
Babe, you're really scaring me.
I said quietly. I didn't want to touch him. He just stared at me, smiling widely like before. That night, I slept in the living room. Rather yet, I stayed up the whole night. I kept all the lights on and watched my favorite show to ease my nerves.
Oh? Honey, what are you doing up?
I let out a shriek and turned my head around to come face to face with Drew. He was standing at least 3 inches away, giving me a small smile, not like the scary ones before.
You scared me.
I shouted, pushing his face away.
Sorry about that. I just got thirsty and just needed a drink.
He explained as he walks into the kitchen. I could hear the cabinets opening and closing before water pouring into a glass cup.
Hey babe, there's something I needed to talk to you about.
Drew semi-shouted. Was it about his weird smile? I hope so.
Yeah?
I could hear his footsteps as he got closer to the living room.
You need to stop staying up late,
he said before sipping his glass of water. I couldn't face him. All I could imagine was his wide smile and bleeding lips.
Yeah, I know.
And if you do stay up, at least turn down the volume, can you? It woke me up too, you know.
Drew laughs. He was drawing himself closer to me. I could feel his presence, sitting himself down next to me. I scooted further from him. Perhaps I was scared of him, or perhaps I was giving him more space. Perhaps both.
What's wrong?
He asked. I didn't respond. Instead, I gulped and just looked at the two main characters arguing on screen. And after that, Drew started humming. At a bad, awful tone, I might add.
Now I can't sleep.
As much as I love him, I really do. I really wish he hadn't come downstairs. But you can't just run upstairs without your boyfriend asking you what the problem was.
Hun?
He said quietly.
Look at me. What's wrong? What did I do?
He wrapped his arm around my shoulders. Then, I finally found the courage to stare at him from my peripheral vision. He was facing me. His smile, his god-awful smile, slowly starting to creep up again.
Hey, babe, what's wrong?
He hummed.
Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. I can't take this anymore, Drew.
It was then I woke up, screaming at the top of my lungs. I stared into the pitch darkness we called our bedroom, with Drew still sound asleep next to me. But strange enough, he was humming while snoring away, with that frickin' song. The song he kept humming was starting to get on my nerves. I turned on the light and looked at him, almost yelling to wake him up. But when I looked at him, he was smiling. Not the usual creepy smile though. Instead, it was off-putting. His eyes were wide open, pupil dilated in yellow, with crooked teeth showing. His cheekbones were once again higher than ever. And his tongue rested between his top and bottom teeth, with only the tip showing. I had never seen that my entire life, and now I wasn't sure what to make of it. Drew has never done this, was never creepy. Sure, he was goofy and made a lot of weird faces whenever I complimented him, but he was never this scary. I broke down. I didn't know what to do. Every single day, I'd tell him,
Babe? You know, you smile in your sleep, right?
I said, and went on to explain how scary his smile was. He just laughed it off and told me that my jokes were getting funnier, that I'm getting funnier. He thought this crap was a game. Thus, he didn't take me seriously. But tonight, I've had it. I shook him, slapped him, even kicked him off the bed. But still, he didn't wake up. Instead, just keeps on giving me that horrible smile.
To heck with you. To heck with you, you sick psycho.
I wasn't the type to curse. I was never the type to raise my voice on anyone, much rather my beloved. I picked up my keys and my phone and headed out the door. A night at my mother's house would cool things down, I figured. I knew that for sure. I mean, my mother always know her way with words. Always know what to say, even if she didn't believe me. When I got there, I rang the doorbell at least 10 times before she opened up. Still in her nightgown, with her hair up.
Sweetie? Is that you? Oh my god, you look terrible. Mom, I needed to talk. Oh, okay, sweetie. Come here. You look like a mess.
My mom immediately brought me into a hug and rubbed my back. It felt nice having a warm hug. It felt like home. Love. I like that. I slowly raised my hand to hug her back. And then, I started weeping. With every single tear I dropped, my mother kept asking how I was feeling about Drew. It wasn't until the third time she asked that I pulled away and looked at her. Her face was blurry, but maybe it was because of the tears and the terrible headache.
What?
I croaked out.
Honey, it was about Drew. They didn't call you?
Now I was confused. Just what did my mother know that I didn't? I could tell that she knew I didn't know.
I mean, the cops found Drew in the lake 10 days ago. We all tried calling you, but no one answered. The cops even showed up on your doorstep, but no one opened the door. I even went to your house personally, but it looks empty. No one seems to be home. I even filed a missing person report for you. You scared me. Come here, my baby. I'm so glad you're okay. No, Mom. I was home all this time. Remember? The office laid me off, remember? I was struggling to find a job since then.
I asked, holding on to her arms.
No, it can't be it. Drew's been going to work every single day since then. Mom? What are you talking about? Drew's been found in the lake?
I took a step back. My mom sighed under her breath and turned to look at her side.
Sweetie, I think we need to sit down. You're cold, and you don't look so good. Mom, please just listen to me.
I begged her and grabbed her arm before she could go into the living room.
Drew has been home all this time. I've been with him all day and night. The only time I don't see him is when he's at work. I mean, he came home this afternoon and complained to me about his work. I literally talked to him. I slept next to him.
I explained.
And every single time he slept next to me, he always gives me a weird smile. A creepy smile, Mom. I swear, I'm not talking crazy. I swear. Look, I can prove it. I swear, I'm telling the truth. No one has called my phone, nor have the police come by.
I pulled up my phone, and there it was. All of it. All the text messages, missed phone calls, voicemails.
Hey, Lily. Sorry for your loss.
Hey, Lily. I'm so sorry to hear the news about Drew. If you ever need someone to talk to, you can always find me. I'm always here, okay?
Hey, Lily. Mary and I heard about what happened. Let's grab some brunch, okay? Hope you're feeling better, besties. Hang in there. Sweetie, are you okay?
My mother could tell I was going insane, but she knew I was telling the truth. I was never this nutty.
I swear, Mom. I never got those texts. I've been on my phone every single day. Mom, I swear.
I whispered out, slowly looking up at her. She only gave me a painful look of remorse and ushered me into the living room.
Have a seat, sweetie. I'll grab some tea.
As she walked away, I couldn't help but wonder who was sleeping next to me all this time, who was kissing me every morning, and who was making me breakfast, who was ranting to me about his day at work. I checked the messages on my phone I had sent to Drew. I had been texting him while he was at work for the past few days. That would have been proof enough, right? As I scrolled through our messages, all I saw were blue bubbles, ranging from
Hey babe, miss you.
to
Hey babe, when you're off of work, mind bringing home some sushi?
all delivered, but not one was read or replied to. I shut off my phone and looked at the black TV in front of me and noticed in the doorway of the kitchen was a figure. The same familiar figure that I couldn't get out of my head. I immediately turned around, but all I saw was my mother bringing me a hot cup of tea.
Thank you. Mom? You don't think I'm crazy, right?
I mustered out. She only looked at me and pursed her lips, sighing through her nose all this time.
I think right now you're going through a lot. That's all, honey.
She said, and handed me a cup of tea. It took at least 30 minutes before she began talking about Drew.
He was a good kid. I'm so sorry you had to find out last. The police tried to inform you, but it seemed like no one was home. They contacted everyone you knew, including me and your father. Oh yeah, I'll have to notify them tomorrow to let them know that you're safe. Oh, and also put down the missing persons report and everything else.
My mother sighs.
How
She looked at me.
How did they find him?
Reality started to kick in, and I wanted answers. I'll figure out who that creepy man was later. She turned away and rested her hands on her knees.
How do I say this? Like I said, they found him in the lake. The police say that he didn't look like himself. He was smiling really wide and... oh, I don't know how to explain it.
She made a clicking sound with her mouth.
They said his eyes were open and red, but he was smiling. They couldn't pull his face back to normal.
I stopped listening after that.
But, honey...
I looked up. My mother gave me a small smile.
You're alright now, right? I'm pretty sure you have to talk to the police about it eventually when you're ready. Just get some rest, okay? Your room is upstairs. The bed is made for you.
she said, standing up. She took me to my old bedroom. Everything still looks the same. Those ugly light blue walls and everything else. I couldn't sleep that night. Every single time I closed my eyes, I would envision him grinning at me unnaturally. Then, the wind blew, the tree branches rubbing against the window every once in a while. But that's when I remember. My parents didn't have a tree in the backyard. My eyes widened, unable to look at the window to my left. The sound of the knocking kept on going and going, to the point where it drove me insane. Finally, I looked. Outside the window was a short, lanky man with shoulder-length long hair. He was grinning widely, as if he was proud he found me. His clothes were wet, and his fingernails were as long as his sharp teeth. His pupils dilated with delight, and his skin looked gray in the moonlight. But strangely, I could read his lips.
Found